Okay, so we are back with Paul and Dave talking about, CARES Acts, 401ks, TSPs. Can I take it out? If I take it out, do I have penalties? What are the penalties? What are the taxable implications? I think a lot of people right now are caught flat-footed, frozen with the market, and I think you're going to get steamrolled unless you figure out how to take control of your financial future. The good thing is that we get the opportunity to do that right now with the CARES Act. So we were just talking a little bit about being able to take some money out of your 401k and now also confirmed a Thrift Savings Plan if you're a government employee. So guys, what are you doing? I know, Dave, you don't have any money in the market anymore, but what are you doing right now to take advantage of what you can take advantage of with the CARES Act? And you too, Paul, what are you guys up to?
Well, for me, I've got several clients who have investments in 401ks and TSP. And in fact, I had a client who in February just made the decision on his own before all of this happened, before the pandemic took place, to pull his money out of his 401k and take the hit, take the 10% penalty and roll it into a dividend-paying whole life insurance policy so he could start taking control of his own money. Well, thank God now he can actually, it's retroactive, so he doesn't have to pay that 10% penalty. But it's just a very appealing concept to a lot of people I've talked to, where this is for the first time in your life. It took an act of Congress to make this happen, but you can access that money penalty-free right now. So, and most people are probably still well ahead of where they started in their 401ks, even though compared to where it was at its high, it looks a lot lower, but they probably still made some money since they started investing, and it's not a total loss if they take that money out.
Yeah, I like the idea of being able to take, everybody's like, well, why do you want to take control of your money? Shouldn't I just turn it over to Wall Street? Obviously, that's not always the best idea. And I personally know some people too that said, hey, I'm just going to take the penalty because the 10% that I have to pay now means I won't have to pay have to partner with the government forever, or partner with the IRS, or partner, because that in essence is what you're doing, right? With a Thrift Savings Plan or a 401k, you are in essence partnering with the government in hopes that when you retire, your taxable income will be lower than it is right now. And the first time I ever heard the converse argument about this kind of blew my mind. Because basically the question that I got asked made me feel a little silly. It was, do you think the government's going to lower taxes? And I said, no, of course not. And the second penalty was, okay, where do you think taxes will be in 30 to 35 years when you retire? Significantly higher. So why would you want to defer the taxes into an unknown place versus paying the penalty now and taking control of what you can let your money do and grow, potentially tax-free? In the vehicle you're talking about, Dave, that grows tax-free, right?
Yeah, technically tax-deferred, but the way that I use it, the way that I train my clients to use it, yeah, you can access that money tax-free for the rest of your life.
Yeah, which is a pretty big deal. So now, even the people that started to have this aha moment, they were paying the penalty, but right now, we don't have to pay the penalties.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, correct. I think what the CARES Act offers is a great opportunity for those of us that were looking for this opportunity I wasn't really worried about the 10% penalty, but this is going to make me take the leap for sure. And I am. I'm going to pull money out of my 401k or my Thrift Savings Plan account as soon as the Thrift Savings Plan updates their website. So I'm going to go from that asset class, riding the wave of the market and the volatility of the market to a more secure asset class, more liquid asset class that gives me more control over that wealth. Sorry, it's hard to find a place. Let me go outside. Let me try that.
Well, it's like you're at home with your family or something.
Yeah, man.
It's like you're home with the kids.
It's lunchtime. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful out though. So anyway, yeah, this was not the excuse, but this was like the sign I was looking for. Even though the COVID-19 situation is terrible for most people, and I've had to play teacher, I've had to play crafts, arts and crafts, and all these things. But this is a really great opportunity for those of us that know that we can do better than the market and control our wealth properly. This is a wonderful opportunity. So, yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. But
and you're going to take the money out of your TSP and your wife's, right? We were talking about before. And then where are you going to? So, talk to us about these dividend-paying whole life policies. Why would you choose that to put it into? And what's the benefit and what's the, why would you do it?
Yep. Dave, fill in the blanks, but here's how I like it. There's almost endless attributes of this product, but what I love is the control, the liquidity, the tax-free growth. I guess technically, as David said earlier, it's tax deferred, but the way we utilize our policies, it'll be tax-free forever because I leverage the cash value via policy loan. I don't take a withdrawal out. And once you know infinite banking and understand the concept, you'll know why that is. But the control liquidity.
Same thing with refinances, by the way. When you buy a commercial asset in 5 years, when we do a cash out refinance and we pull $1 million to $2 million out, because it's a loan, that's tax-free money.
Tax-free,
right?
Tax-free.
It's no
different
principle.
It's no different. Absolutely. So yeah, there's a couple of considerations. There's a few considerations, and everyone can go on COVID-19 on Google and actually read the law. It's very easy to find where it talks about qualified plans. Normally, your 401k custodian, so in my case, the Thrift Savings Plan management team, normally they'll withhold, I live in a golf course, there goes some golf carts. Normally, they'll withhold the taxes. The CARES Act accounts for, allows that for you to waive that tax withholding. So if you are paying attention to your taxes and how much you're going to owe if you do a withdrawal, because there will be tax consequences.
Maybe. I'll circle back to that.
Maybe you're going to circle back to that. Absolutely. Depends on what you got going on. But, so normally they'll withhold 10 or 20%. So if you wanted 100, they'd keep 20 and you'd get 80. But what I'm personally going to do, I'm going to take the entire 100, and I've already worked it out with my CPA of my 2020 tax strategy, so that I know if I need to make a quarterly payment to the IRS, we know how much that is, and I'm going to route the 100,000 through a policy, and then when we figure out what my tax bill is going to be, my estimated tax bill for the year, I'm going to take a policy loan out. I'm going to pay that tax bill, and the rest is there ready for opportunity, which there's a lot of.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to recognize, and not to get too granular as to what we're all doing, but Paul and Dave have already partnered with me on our next 220 unit complex that we're going to be buying. So if there is a tax consequence, the accelerated depreciation that we take on these large commercial assets should offset that. So talk about the perfect storm of no penalty and potentially no taxes, depending on your situation. This is kind of it. And, Paul, we talked about, you looked back over the last 16, 17 years of what your TSP was making you. What was it making you?
5%.
So you're making about 5%.
Yep. And that was
fees.
Just so people know where it was invested. It was invested in the C fund and the S fund. But again, and Stephen, you talk a lot about that volatility calculator. And once you plug those numbers in, you follow the path of, let's say, $10,000 or $100,000 from 1997 to 2017, or pick a 20-year span. And I tell you, it's not as good as it's being advertised to be. And I was surprised, actually. I was actually very surprised. I thought I had done better than that.
I think a lot of people with TSPs and 401ks think they are doing better because of some semblance of an employer match, right? So if you're looking at the growth and you're getting a dollar for dollar match on the first 2 or 3% of what you're putting in, then you're seeing it grow because you're getting some free money from your employer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the rate of return when you calculate it out. So just be mindful of that. Take a look at your 401k, take a look at your TSP. And when you're calculating what you're making, don't just look at the gross numbers, right? Look at what the rate of return is that the funds that you're invested in are making, and also do a year or 2 year look back and see how volatile that has been. Because if you have $100,000 and you lose 20%, you have to make 25% the next year to get back to zero, right? So that dollar cost averaging of 5% doesn't it doesn't compute well. So really dig into what those numbers look like, because over time, that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in your retirement plan. So finding something that's more safe and secure and stable, the reason that I utilize the dividend paying policies that you guys are talking about is while I'm doing my investing and building that long-term generational wealth, I also have the security and safety of a death benefit for my family, which is significant. So if during my investing game I die, the loan gets paid off from the death benefit and the rest goes to my wife to take care of my family while I'm gone. So you get to really double dip, right? I mean, you get to really insulate your entire, and I mean, it's millions of dollars tax-free. So even my business can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at this asset class, and we've talked about it on your podcast, is what, when you look at what the wealthy are doing with their money and what the banks, and Dave talks about this a lot, and what the banks and large corporations are doing with bank-owned life insurance and corporate-owned life insurance, there's a reason these wealthy families and these wealthy corporations, there's a reason they own this asset. And you don't have to be wealthy to own it. You can be average Joe and have this asset class. And I just, I was late getting into the game. I was 38 by the time Dave got around to introducing this concept to me and this asset. And, but I tell you, it is, and I say this often, it is now my favorite asset in my entire portfolio.
Yeah, me too. I mean, and we just leverage it, and we've done a great video on the velocity of your capital and what that leverage can look like, increasing your returns by literally hundreds of % by leveraging that, putting it into the right asset, creating consistent returns. It's true wealth creation. If you guys would like to learn more about it, make sure you're reaching out to me or Paul or Dave. All of our contact information is going to be below. But we just wanted to put it out there and let you guys know what it is that we're doing to leverage the CARES Act, take control of our financial future, put it into something that's going to insulate our families long-term, build generational wealth, and then take it even a step further. It's like, it's fun. This isn't Monopoly. This is chess. I can utilize these tactics and know exactly where I'll be 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years out. And man, it's a good feeling to be able to take control of that. So thank you guys for teaching me everything that you've been teaching me.
Yeah, and it's the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other strategies that are underneath that water layer that you don't even see until you actually start participating in it. And, the things that have been revealed to me just in the last year and really diving deep into it there's something for everybody. And if only people knew about it, if only people knew that there are other opportunities outside of the stock market, those just aren't advertised. So, it's all about taking control.
The government does a good job, right? The SEC does a good job of muzzling me about my opportunities. Because unless you know me personally, you don't hear about them, right? So, and that's by design, by the way. And that's why, tune into the Free from Wall Street podcast and listen to what we talk about. We talk to a lot of smart people about how they're building wealth outside of the volatility of Wall Street and without them taking a big chunk of your fees. And, when you start coupling it with strategies and vehicles like these whole life policies that are dividend paying, by the way, and in 6 or 7 years, the dividend will end up paying my policy amount. I mean, that's what you mean, Dave, right? Like the deeper you get into this, you see how just absolutely strategic you can use this thing.
Yeah, it gets more efficient every year, and there's nothing you can do about it. Can't stop it.
Cannot stop this.
Yep.
Can only hope to contain it. Well, boys, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time again, and I'm sure we're just going to keep having these conversations because more and more people keep reaching out to us and saying, hey, how do we do what you guys are doing to build wealth for your families? And I appreciate you taking the time, teaching everybody. I'll put your websites and everything down below. Reach out to us. Let us know if we can help you in any way.
Next TSP update is supposed to be on the 15th. So expect to see one of my posts on Facebook, Steve, Dave, about just the TSP specifically and what they're doing with the CARES Act. But they're supposed to be releasing some news that a lot of us have been waiting for. So
good. So when you do post that, make sure you tag us both in it, and our listenership and our viewers can all take a look at it.
Will do.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon.